it we pray completely. Shelter us with love so sweetly. Tonight, please fight the dangers from our eyes. Please, God, protect me from sorrow. Ufros aleinu, Sukkot shlomecha,
בשלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני העם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה.
Be the light inside the darkness, be the hope, burning bright into the night, be the voice, for those who cannot raise it, be the one who leads the way through the world's darkest days, be the light. Be the light, be the light. When days feel long and all that's left inside you are darkest days, reach for the light to guide you. The miracle of change
Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom.
That's a nice way to begin our service this evening, by hearing these words that belong to this time. Chat sha'alti, I only have one question, and that is to dwell in your house and to have you with me, speaking to God. And it is the psalm that is read and chanted during this month before Rosh Hashanah to get us to start to think about where we are right now. And I like to think, whenever we talk about living in God's house, that what that means is truly living where you are, wherever you find yourself. And I mean that in a physical sense, but I also mean that in a metaphorical sense. Wherever you find yourself in your life, where you're existing right now, that's okay. Stay there, right? Hang out there a little bit. You may find that's the place for you, or you may find it's not, and then it helps you to decide where you're going to move for the next part of your life. So is Caroline going to come up? Did we ask? Caroline and Samuel, they're going to be moving to Connecticut, which is wonderful because I grew up there and I really like Connecticut. You went to school there, didn't you, in Connecticut? So you can bring some light into this space, and that will stay here. Even when you go to Connecticut, that light will just kind of hover up here somewhere. Actually, you're not going to say anything. I don't know why I'm putting the mic up. Thank you so much. We'll have these candles lit, so when the angels come by, they say, may all the houses of Israel be like this one, with the candles lit, with the light of Shabbat into the room. Let's go to page 24, which is in a Siddur. Underneath your seat, you will find the Siddur. It's the thinner blue books. Let us sing Shalom Aleichem.
Or you can look on the screens.
Or you can look on the screen. The words are there too.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchni L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seichem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
So we've started with some singing. We brought the lights of Shabbat into the room, and now we take a moment to think about our week, and I offer the following. So much of our thoughts involve the past. This past week, something that happened last year, hearing about the past, learning from the past, yearning for the past. And so much of our thoughts involve the future. Planning ahead, preparing for the worst, scheming for the best, dreaming of a better place, looking forward. There are those few moments when now takes its place, when concentration meets interest, when rest replaces rat race, and when all you see and feel and think is about one moment of presence. One moment of the present. It can be now, this moment, all of us here together. For this moment, for the present, for the presence of our hearts and souls, the presence of an energy that unites, a moment that calms. Let us be now, not in the past or the future, but here, now, right in Shabbat. So let's prepare ourselves for that and go through our week. Think about what happened to you this week, a Chazarat HaShavua, a review. We continue with Lecha Dodi, found on page 20, as we sing for Shabbat. We welcome the Sabbath bride. I thought I saw the Sabbath bride just walk in. Oh, no, that was Cheryl.
Lecha Dodi, Likhat Kala, Penei Shabbat, Nekabela. Lecha Dodi, Likhat Kala, Penei Shabbat, Nekabela. Shamor v'zachor, v'ribor echad, Yishmianu el hamiuchad, Adonai echad, u'shmo echad, V'shemo tiferet v'litila. Lecha Dodi, Likhat Kala, Penei Shabbat, Nekabela. Lecha Dodi, Likhat Kala, Penei Shabbat, Nekabela. Hitoreri, Hitoreri, Ki va'orech kumi ori. Uri, Uri, Shir Daberi, Kevod Adonai, Alayich Nigla. Lecha Dodi, Likhat Kala, Penei Shabbat, Nekabela. Lecha Dodi, Likhat Kala, Penei Shabbat, Nekabela.
Let us rise and face the entrance as we truly welcome the Sabbath bride.
Boi v'shalom atet bala, gam besimcha uv'sola, toch emunei am segula. הקלה, הנה שבת נקבלה.
We continue on page 28 with the Baruch Hu, the call to worship. Please stay standing in body or spirit. Seated. As we continue on, we're on page 34 for the Shema, although the tradition is to close our eyes while saying this prayer. So if you'd like to close your eyes just for a moment. The first word of the Shema is Shema, which means to listen. Listening like paying attention, like really hearing what's happening around you, taking it in. And as we sit together tonight, whether we're online in our living room or kitchen, or we're sitting in this sanctuary, we're tied together. We're all tied together. And we sing of that oneness that is the fabric of everything in the universe as we sing Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Le'olam Vayed. We continue now on page 40, words from Exodus. When we went across the Sea of Reeds, you were so happy you sang this song.
There's a part for you too. Micha mocha ba'elim Adonai. Micha mocha ne'adam bodesh. Nora tehilo osei fele nora tehilot osei fele malchutecha ra'unecha bokeh mifnei Moshe Miriam Neili Anu le'ameru Adonai Imloch Le'olam Va'ed Adonai Imloch Le'olam Va'ed
ימלוך
לעולם
לעולם
ועד.
We continue now on page 42 as we move towards the evening. This is an evening prayer. This prayer asks for there to be a shelter of peace that comes over us tonight. Tonight as the evening falls, tonight as we go to sleep, in the middle of our sleep, we want this shelter of peace to come over us like a sheen of love that we can feel throughout the evening. Ufros aleinu.
Ufros aleinu
Sukkot shlomecha Ufros aleinu
Sukkot shlomecha
Ufros aleinu Sukkot shlomecha Ufros aleinu Sukkot shlomecha Ushmor tzeiteinu uvoeinu lechaim ushalom me'ata ועד עולם. ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך. So with that shelter of peace, we move into the silent Amidah. We'll rise together and we'll just say the first line, which says, may whatever in my heart come onto my lips and on my tongue and come out of my mouth, and with words of praise. So please rise, page 46, Adonai Svatai Tiftach.
Adonai tzvatai tiftach. Adonai tzvatai tiftach. Ufi yagid tehilatecha. Ufi yagid tehilatecha.
Please continue with your own silent prayers to page 62. When you're done, you may be seated. As we continue on with our service at the end of the Amidah, we'd like to take a moment on page 253. Take a moment to think about those people that are in our hearts and minds this evening because they're in need of healing. I have a list that I'm going to read. There's names to read that are online, and then I'll also come around and gather names from you that are in the room. And we'll sing the first half, we'll gather those names, and then we'll concentrate our prayers on the healing of all those names called. Misha Berach, 253.
Misha Berach Avotenu
Mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength
Who bless
the ones before us help us find the courage to
make our lives a blessing,
and let us say Amen.
Charles Ehrenberg, Donna Berg, Jean-Claude Berthet, Amy Bloom, Lester Boxer, Eitan Chaim, Woody Clark, Iris and Gordon Cutler, Erica Fernbach, Patty Goodman, Andy Hale, Helene Hale, Lori Haynes, Jeremy Hutchins, Kathy Javor, Dora Kamara, Sis Klein, Russell Kunk, Sheila Merowitz, Harava Harona bat Tzvia Yosef, Naomi bat Chaim Ishai Uvrana, Warren Roston, Leonard Shapiro, Lindy Sobel, Pessel bat Gittel Ve'ichel, Sonia Ann Weggy, Yehudit bat Nehama Mordechai, and Howard Zellico.
Susan Medusa Levin, Gary Geis, Karen Duggard, Faye Friedlander, Janice Cooper-Smith and Howard Gorin, Lynn Sinay, David Kunkel, Karen Alexander, Bernice Fuller and Lee Sterling, Warren Roston, Lois Lebman, Rita Newman, Audrey and Judith Bennis, Lupe Diaz, Hessel Sequenza, Maras and family, Claudette Henry, Verna McCarthy, Sadil and Martha Green, Marty John, Joe Triana, Anita Triana, Larry Weinstock, Annette Aki, Mark Heffernan, Matthew Heffernan, Franklin Heffernan, David Diaz, Jeremy Rosiak, Ray Rosiak, Dara Mehta Rosenblack, Adisa Batsara, Rosa Batsara, Myra Batsara, Prudencio, Alex, and Monica Batsara.
Darcy Goldstad, Ann Williams, Nora Archibald, John Archibald.
Yolanda Bloxam, Athena Samoji,
Matthew Raskin.
Barbara Klein, Maurice J. Moore, and Sachi Sabatini.
Sarah Johnson.
Jess Martinez.
Misha Beirach
Imotenu
Mekor
habracha
Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with prayer
refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Thanks. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbos.
I imagine that all of us would agree that we have no control who our family is, right? I mean, it's fascinating though, because who our family is in so many ways defines the choices and directions we make in our lives. I mean, think about all the children that go into similar occupations as their parents. All you have to do is look at the Toronto Blue Jays. There's like 5 players that are sons of previous Major League ball players, right? Educators create educators, lawyers create lawyers, ball players create ball players, and so on. Now, that's not necessarily true. There's a lot of times where people become who they are in occupations against who their family was and the direction their family wanted them to go into. But either way, whether it's because your family is a certain way or you want to go against that family trend, that family becomes really important in how you decide and how you live your life and who you become. Is that fair? Right? Shouldn't I have more of a choice as to who I am and what I want to do with my life? And I would argue that we are free, right? But that history and that incredible minuscule chance that allows us to exist in the world are too powerful and too close to simply ignore the fact that we were brought into the world by certain people. In Kitavo, which is our Torah portion this week, there's a description of what a person should say when God is bringing the first fruits to the altar in the temple in Jerusalem. And the words are written there. So what kind of words do you think are going to be spoken? Is it going to be, oh, thank you, God, for, this fruit. Thank you, God, for, having this field. Thank you, God, for the house that I live in. That's not what the words are. The words are, my father was a fugitive Aramean. This is what you say when you bring your first fruits to the temple. My father was a fugitive Aramean. He went down to Egypt in meager numbers and sojourned there, but there became a great and very populous nation. The Egyptians dealt harshly with us and oppressed us all the way and he brought us to this place, flowing land of milk and honey, and now I bring my first fruits. So it ends up getting there at the end. But the whole first part is like, my father was a wandering Aramean. Most people think that the wandering Aramean, by the way, these words might be familiar to you because they're in the Passover Seder at the beginning of the Magid when we start to tell our story. And most people think of the wandering Aramean as either Abraham, who was wandering, or could be Lavan, who was Jacob's father-in-law, or it could be Jacob himself. There isn't really surety as to who this wandering Aramean was, but he is certainly the father of anybody who brings anything into the temple. I just always found it fascinating that when bringing your first fruits, you give a history of your family. That's just amazing to me. And why would that be the case? And, there have been times where I've questioned what I do in my life, why I became a rabbi, why I chose to pursue this. And every once in a while, I'm just reminded of who I am, what history I came from. And as I was preparing these remarks, and I've always been fascinated by that line, I found this story that I actually told from 2008. I don't even know how many years ago that is. Divided by 3 times pi. What's that? 14 years. Thank you. So it's about my Uncle Sam, who actually has been here several times doing music at the synagogue. He ran into a woman in Maine in 2008 while he was a visiting lecturer at one of those small colleges up in Maine. And she came up to him and told him that she grew up in Worcester, Massachusetts, and went to the same temple that my uncle went to, Temple Emanuel, by the way. And his father, meaning my Uncle Sam's father, my grandfather, was the cantor at that synagogue. And she told him that she had just finished a class on how to write memoirs, and that she finished the memoir and there's one section that he should read. And he was polite, and he was like, okay, gave his email. And about a week later, he received an 8-page single-spaced document from this woman. And he's like, oi, 8 pages. Do I really have to read this? He ends up reading it. He sends it to my mother. My mother sends it to me. I print it up, put it in a drawer in my desk in my office, and I don't even look at it. She keeps bothering me. Did you look at the memoirs? I'm like, I'll get to, keeps on asking me. Every time I'm talking to her, did you look at the memoirs? She's probably watching this service and going to be very upset, saying that she never did this. And I was like, okay, enough already. I don't want her to bug me anymore. I finally took the memoir out and I started reading it. Now, I've talked about my family over the years quite a bit. My grandfather's name was Hugo Chaim Adler. My mother was born in Mannheim, Germany. He was the senior cantor at the synagogue in Mannheim, and in actually 2018, our whole family went and visited the synagogue and visited where they grew up in Mannheim. He was a senior cantor. There were 5 cantors there. Just to give you an idea of what kind of place this was, they had an incredibly huge choir with a choir loft and a huge organ, and he arranged a lot of the music for these humongous choirs. That was mixed choir, and that's what made it a Reformed synagogue. In every other way, you think of it as traditional, except they had a mixed choir. So, they moved here shortly after Kristallnacht, and he passed away before my oldest brother was born, a year before he was born. So none of us ever knew him, except through stories. And I happened to work at Temple Emanuel when I was a senior in high school and a freshman in college as the song leader there. And so it was always fascinating for me to lead a service on the same bima that my grandfather did, who I never met. And I used to always go up and visit his portrait that was in the clergy suite. Yeah, they had a clergy suite, yeah. Or there was a plaque with his name on it, and I'd go and just kind of like rub it as I'd walk by. So now back to this memoir. So the woman began to describe her feelings about the new immigrants in the late 30s and 40s and how they influenced her. And there's a whole section about Cantor Adler, who was my grandfather, and how he tried to teach them Hebrew correctly, and that he would always say, say the correctly. And she describes a song that they wrote for him at the end of the year, and that he wanted her to be in the choir, but she didn't want to be in the choir. And at that time, she didn't quite understand why everyone said that he was a genius. So later in life, she has her own family. And as an adult, she came to appreciate his singing voice and his musicality and, of course, his famous choirs. Her last paragraph in the memoirs is about a time when she and her husband were going to live in England for 4 months for his work. And they went looking for a flat to lease, and they came across a room being let in a woman's house. And they loved the place, and they said they would take it for the 4 months. And the woman said that she only had rented to those who wanted it at least for a year. She didn't want to rent out for just 4 months. They shook hands, said goodbye, and they started walking out. She glanced at the piano, and she saw a book of music on the piano, and she said, "Oh my God, that's Cantor Adler." The English woman said to her, "How do you know him?" And the woman told her that he was her teacher and her cantor. And the British woman said, "He was a genius and such a nice man." She had known him from Germany. The two of them had tea, of course, and talked well into the afternoon, and she did get the place for 4 months. So I read that story, and I understand why I stand here. I understand why I'm closely tied to Cantor Weiss and the music that we do together. I understand why I live in this world of Judaism and music, because that is my story. That is my past. That's my wandering Aramean father. We are, at the same time, our own personal pasts, but we're also the collective pasts of all the Jews that ever lived. That story that I just told is yours as well. The Aramean was your father as well. We spend so much time trying to find things outside of ourselves that define us, when if we just would look within, look at who came before us, and understand that those connections are what it's all about, maybe we can discover ourselves a little bit better. So think about your Aramean father or mother. Think about where you came from, and your father, and your mother, and your grandfather, and your grandmother, all the way back. And find that connection, especially at this season, especially with our theme for the year, L'Dor Vador. We think about the generations that came before us and find ourselves here. Shabbat Shalom. Let's go to our concluding prayers. It's 282. If you'd like to rise and body your spirit, please do so.
Aleinu leshabeach ladon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינת עוזו בגובה מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אינו, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא, יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו
You may be seated. If you'd like to start writing in names for Kaddish in Facebook and YouTube, please do so at this time. We turn to page 294 for Kaddish Yatom. And I'd like to ask if there was anyone here in the first month after the death of a loved one, if you'd please stand and tell us who you're here to say Kaddish for. If you're observing a yahrzeit on this Shabbat, if you'd like to stand and tell us who you're here to say Kaddish for.
My mother, Beverly, 20 years.
If there was anyone in the first year after the death of a loved one, please tell us who you're here to say Kaddish for.
My best friend, Lou Williams.
My father, Frank Cantor.
Let us take all of those names into our heart. Oh, we have names online.
Andre Cohen, Arnie Weinstock, Joan Weinstock, Jonah Goldrich, Lorena Pili, and Esther Glumas.
We rise together as a community and we say Kaddish Yatom for those names that were called. We also say it for those that have no one to say Kaddish for them. We say it for those lost in the Holocaust. Say it for those that have died from COVID-19. Say it from those that have died from the violence of the recent past. And as you see on the online, on the screen, you can see the names of those in our congregation who have died at this season.
We also add Esther Peters and Matt Gradet and Eloisa Bat Petra and Marcos Ben Irene.
Together. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba. Be'alma divrach irutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala v'zman kariv imru. Amen. Yehi shmei Rabba mevorach le'olam ul'olmei olmaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shmei d'kudusha b'rechu. Leila min kol berchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran v'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shalom rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. May the one who brings peace on high bring peace to us, to all Israel, and to the whole world. And we say,
Amen.
Amen. You may be seated. Cantor has some announcements.
Please join us tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. for Shabbat morning at Emanuel.
There it is.
Our Torah service and lunch after. It's a lovely time. But after tomorrow morning, we have a wonderful Slichot program tomorrow night. Rabbi Aaron and I will be joining the clergy at Wilshire Boulevard Temple. Outside, this is the Brentwood campus off Barrington and Olympic. Don't go downtown. This is outside for well, you're already inside, so you guys feel comfortable being inside. But it is outside, and there will be a reception at 7 and a beautiful service, a discussion with Rabbi Aaron and Rabbi Leader in the middle, and we will really get into the spirit of the high holidays.
We will.
Which, speaking of getting into the spirit, if you need a little more help, Tuesday night you can attend our third Elul class. It will be taught by our rabbinic intern, Michael. So please join us in person or on Zoom at 7 p.m. And then, speaking of Elul, there we go. High Holy Days. Erev Rosh Hashanah is a week from Sunday night. We will join for our united service in this space. We hope to see so many of you back here in person for the first time in
If any of you have
3
written
years.
any good sermons for me to do, you could send them, email them to me.
Send Rabbi Aaron your sermons. If you haven't gotten tickets or you haven't renewed your membership commitment, be in touch with Jenny. Be in touch with Matt. Matt at tvh.org. If you have any questions, if you would like to get guest tickets or anything like that, let us know. Learn more.
HHD info.
tbh.org/HHD info. And we're going to keep going. There's a couple more. Last year, we debuted this immersive Yisker experience. It's a beautiful, intense experience in our chapel with a full Yisker service. We are giant on a screen. And I believe we've collected all of the pictures at this point. But Jenny, is that right? We don't have it. Yeah. But please, that will debut the Sunday between the High Holy Days, and you can come anytime between the Sunday and through Yom Kippur Day. But we recommend you come during the week and take your time. We're all over the place. On Rosh Hashanah Day 1, as our Emanuel tradition, meet us at PCH and Temeskel for Tashlich. If you've never been to Tashlich, please come. We have teens leading. You can come and bring a picnic dinner, and it is the best feeling ever to see everybody there. Okay, if you have 0 to 8-year-olds, join us for, there we go, for the street drive. This year, just like last year actually, our High Holiday children's programming will be taking place at the Beverly Canning Gardens. It's very exciting. So we have 2 services, one at 9 a.m. for ages 0 to 4, and then one for 5 to 8-year-olds who can comprehend a little bit more.
How old if you're zero?
Like, you know, like
You're
4
not
days
born
old,
yet if you're
you get
zero.
to come. Well, they count. Anyway, so please come to that. Tell your friends that one you do not need tickets for. Right? Good thing Jenny's here. You do not need tickets, but we want you to RSVP. So please do that at tbh.org/highholidaykids. One more.
Oh my gosh.
Donate to our High Holidays Drive, support SOVA and Esperanza Immigrant Rights Project. For more information, go to tbh.org.
There is one thing I will mention about this is we have for literally 25 years been bringing stuff in physically. People don't want that anymore. They want you to go online and they want you to donate online. I literally heard that last night. That SOVA, they don't want to come and pick up food. They wanted the kind of that we get it online and then they take care of the rest. So that's what we're going to ask people to do this year instead of bringing bags of food, which is too bad because there is something nice about the tactile aspect of bringing things here. But
you know how they can do that.
This is what they've requested, and Esperanza also. They're requesting that we go online, and there'll be a lot more information once the High Holidays come.
I just said, do you know how they can bring something physical? They can come to potentially your house every Sunday and drop off lunches.
That is true. Every Sunday you can make 10 lunches, drop them off in our yard, and we take them for the homeless.
Yep.
It's been going on since the beginning of the pandemic. We've had up to 8,000 meals that we've given out on a Sunday. It's slowed down a little bit over the summer, so if anyone is interested, I can give you my address and you can drop it off. And it's also in our emails that we send out each week.
I want to thank Bill, as always, for wonderful playing. Sarah, sorry, I'm going quick because lots of Sarah for our audio and visual. Jenny for greeting, and our amazing security outside.
I think it's Juan who's out there.
Juan is outside, and thank you to Adrian and our maintenance team. And now...
And thank you to you.
Thank you to you. Let's sing some Od Yavo. Oh, actually, I purposely chose this because I was imagining in about 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks, if you have never been to our end of Ne'ilah, we always close with Od Yavo.
Yeah, we all come up on the bima. You don't have to do that, but...
it's my family's favorite, so you should come.
Okay.
We ask for peace. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu.
Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Ve'al kulam.
Just like that again.
Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Ve'al kulam. Salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, shalom. Salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, shalom. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam.
Words from this week's Torah portion, Baruch atah b'voecha, Baruch atah b'tzeitcha. You're blessed as you came into this house. May you be blessed as you go forward. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Join us in the back for challah.